Should I divulge who breaks the most? I am surrounded by comedic assassins. I will say Quinta probably makes me break the most because she has a sick, twisted concept of comedy.
Welcome to the Warner Brothers Lot. I'm Jonathon Buckley, and this is A Lot More. With Abbott Elementary into its 5th season and shooting right here on the Warner Brothers Lot, we've been given the chance to chat to the man in charge of bringing Jacob Hill to life. Get ready for a deep dive into the life and times of Chris Perfetti. Chris, thank you so much for taking time out of your, I'm sure, busy schedule, especially after a big Halloween weekend, to come and hang out with us here at the Warner Brothers Lot.
Jonathon, thank you.
Oh, of course. I was trying to count up this morning how many nominations and awards that Abbott Elementary has gotten, and you yourself, and I couldn't make sense.
It's 72.
Is that the number?
Yeah,
You've got it. I was going to ask, so you've got it all.
Which is higher than you'd think.
It's a remarkable amount of nominations and
I have
awards.
no idea, but
It's right around that. It'd have to be if you add them all up. But obviously, like the 4 Emmys are like the big guys. What does it feel like to be part of this thing now that's been going on for like 5 seasons?
it's all right. Yeah, it's all right.
okay.
It could be better.
Right.
Honestly, it's a bit of an inconvenience now.
Yeah, it takes
showing
time out
up
of your
every day.
Yeah.
It's wild, man. I was just hanging out with them not a few moments before I came here, and I was looking at Tyler, and we were talking about this episode that he just directed for our show, and I remember the first day that I met him when we were shooting the pilot, and I just kind of turned this corner, and he was in a classroom sitting in a chair that's way too small for him, just like hanging out, waiting for us to get going, and that simultaneously feels like it was yesterday and decades ago.
A lot would have changed for you in that time, I imagine, just
Totally.
within your life, with your outlook.
Yeah.
Has it really been transformational for you?
Yeah, to say the least. I mean, it's still, I'm embarrassed to say it's still sort of been, a series of pinch me moments, even this year, I think the show has become more and more ambitious and more exciting and fulfilling to make for me as an actor. And so I still some days kind of can't believe that I get to come to this job. But
Do you ever have those moments where you're on set where it's just like all of a sudden time stops and you look around and you go, wait, whoa, here I am.
daily,
How did I get here?
it doesn't feel like it makes sense to me, but it also feels crazy. Like
Yeah.
I think I'm supposed to be here, and I think everybody that I'm working with is supposed to be there. So I don't think it's like imposter syndrome, but it does feel like it's hard to put words to it. There was a kid on set the other day that told me that they had been given a line and that they were, going to say this line in the scene. And there was just something about the way that they said that where I was like, I'm not 100% sure that's true, but I'm just going to let it happen. And it's moments like that where we either do something really crazy, like go shoot at a live, baseball game, or the kids being, ridiculously cute, or certainly those scenes where it's all 7 of us in a room and it's kind of just flying at the speed of fun, and I feel really connected to my ensemble. It's those moments where I'm
Speed of fun. I like that.
holy crap, I can't believe it's happening. And yeah, it happens pretty much every day. It's rad.
Did you plan for this? I mean, I know that you worked in theatre for a long time and you had a lot of experience before coming into this, but was it something that you'd always kind of had on your radar from a young age? Like, I've got the gift of the gab, or I'm entertaining, I'm funny, people like watching me. Did you know that going as you grew up?
No, and even when they told me I wasn't funny, I couldn't hear it.
Who told you weren't funny?
A lot of teachers, honestly.
No,
a
you're
lot
kidding
of
me.
educators, bosses, various. No, I didn't really care, and I knew that it was fun to me to make people laugh and to kind of transform myself even as a kid. And then I went to drama school and I kind of fell in love with it for all of the right reasons. And I was very happy to just be working on new plays. I thought, if I could make a career kind of shepherding new plays on and off Broadway, I would be the luckiest man in the world. And I am the luckiest man in the world, and I got to do a great deal of that, and was able to sort of supplement my theater habit by working in TV and film.
That's interesting. So TV and film was like you're moonlighting as a TV film actor, you're saying, to support your theater career.
Totally. And the script has since been flipped on this.
Yeah.
I used to find theater is doing, being on stage is still kind of the greatest high I've ever experienced.
It's really something.
I love that the work is so different from TV and film, and that, you know what's going to happen. You spent a month figuring out what's going to happen, and you're just sort of trying to find a way to make it real for yourself.
Yeah.
And it feels the most like acting to me. The train starts somewhere and it's going to pull into the station 2 hours later, and the actor is so in control there.
Yeah.
In TV and film, it's not my medium. It's somebody else who's kind of like crafting the story. And so TV and film was never, I was happy to do it. I was certainly curious about it. But I kind of feel the opposite now. I'm like, there's a whole new set of rules, and there's a whole new way to tell a story. I'm thrilled by that now. I used to find the experience of being on set mild to moderately torturous.
Yeah.
I was like, this is, I can't believe we're going to put this down on tape and that'll be the only time we do it. And it's all out of order. And
I was going to say, there's a big difference between being in a play and being on stage and telling a story in a linear fashion, right? So you know that there's going to be a crescendo at some point that you're working towards throughout the thing. But when you're shooting a film, you might be shooting the crescendo and then going back to shooting some opening scenes the following day. And so having it out of order, was that really challenging for you, was it?
I think I've made peace with it now.
Yeah.
But weirdly, doing this show, Abbott, there's a lot of crossover between, what I feel like the experience of a rehearsal room is and this. There's no coverage of our show. There's 3 cameras rolling at all times. And there's pretty sophisticated choreography that we have to nail, but there's no doing the scene a million times from different angles.
Yeah.
And so it does sort of feel like a live event. And we're so blessed with incredible writing, and so there's not much tweaking that happens, but there's always a moment where we're trying to, see how far we can take a joke, or we're certainly we're creating an ethos of improvisation, and so there's so much really happening live in the moment when we make the show, and so that, in a way, feels very much like
it's almost like the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
You're kind of. Is there room for improvisation? Obviously, the writing is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, the show's got so much heart. It's so funny and yet so heartfelt at times.
Yeah.
But is there room to play? Is there a lot of room to play?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, our scripts come so well baked that, oftentimes I find the thing that I think is funnier is actually not funnier. We don't have to do anything, but it does give the show, I think, we're trying to dupe people at the end of the day into feeling like this is a documentary, that these people actually exist somewhere and it's real happening.
The question comes in, it autofills on Google. Is Abbott Elementary real is what it autofills?
Yes, the answer is yes. Right? Yeah, so I think in any way that we can capture like authentic, spontaneous human behavior, that just helps us, sell our story and make you hopefully care about these people. But totally, I mean, we have such great writing, but we are all like a traveling theater troupe now, and we're just trying to make each other laugh. And I kind of underestimated what would happen when you play a character for this long. I feel like my proximity to him and to the rhythm of our show and to the relationships that he has with these other characters is so close. And so there's so much we can do with that. And so we always get the script as written, and then we spend a couple takes, making it weirder and probably making it worse.
Because you would have such a deep knowledge of how Jacob works at this point, I imagine. Like, do you have him fully sorted out as far as his history, what he's thinking about, where he wants to go? Like, does that inform your decisions when you're making these types of scenes?
I think so, yeah. I feel like, the beautiful thing is at this point there are 10 other experts, on Jacob who know him just as well as I do because they write for him every day. And I can create whatever sort of backstory, whatever's happening to Jacob when he leaves Abbott. But 10 other people are doing the same thing. And so, last season they were like, oh, we're going to do this episode about your brother and what a tough relationship that is. And I was like, cool, didn't know he had a brother.
Oh, this is, new information.
Or at least, our story's kind of like grapevine in that way. And just, I guess, the sheer nature of it being sort of open-ended. It's like, Quinta was actually talking about this earlier. There's a beautiful sort of like cathartic release you can do when you don't know when it's going to end, where it's going. Even if you feel like you have an authority over the character, we're making the show very much in cahoots with what's happening in the world. And so, yeah, who knows where we'll find Jacob next year. And I've certainly got very attracted to not knowing. I asked Quinta at the beginning of the season, I'm like, is there anything I need to know? And if not, I love being at those table reads and experiencing it for the first time and hearing it like an audience would. It's honestly sort of counteracting that thing that I was describing about feeling, plagued by the permanence of it all. Yeah. And like, we're going to put it on film and that's just what it's going to be like. I won't get a chance to do it again tomorrow night. Yeah. But coming to terms with like the fact that it's being free in that way, which I guess this job kind of requires you to be. Yeah. I've learned a lot from.
What's the turnaround between your shooting and putting out the episodes? Because it always seems so current and timely.
I think it's about 6 weeks.
Wow.
So when we read it for the first time, we're about 3 weeks from shooting it. And when we shoot it, it's about 3 weeks from airing. And I could be completely wrong about that, but
that's a quick turnaround though for a show.
It's close to that. Yeah.
And does Quinta write all the episodes still?
We have a writer's room.
Yeah.
And the last few years it's kind of worked out. I mean, Quinta's show running the show, she created it. She's kind of, setting up
really
the arc
remarkable,
of
by the way. Like, I just have to say that. Like,
don't get me started.
We were just talking about that before we got on here. I'm like, I love that someone can take a story that means something, that has a history in their own life, and then also be in it as well. And really, there's something truly impressive about that, and something truly deserving when they get the accolades that it gets inevitably.
Totally. I have every confidence that, 100 years from now, when she's gone, they will study her brain to kind of come up with some way to make human beings more efficient and genius. And she really is a marvel to me. Yeah. She's an incredible human being. She's one of the most generous people I've ever met, and she's really, really good. And she's able to, wear so many hats at the same time. And, like I said about the writers, the vast majority of our crew have been with us since the pilot, and it's because she set up a place that people want to work. And she's a great boss.
That's interesting. When you get somebody good at the top like that, I mean, it really just changes the whole feel of, it makes it positive all the way down the line.
It's a huge deal. I think a show like ours, a sitcom, certainly a network show, kind of requires that. Yeah. As it pertains to what we're trying to talk about and the ethos of the show. Like, it definitely helps. But yeah, we've all had bosses where you're like, I will be so happy to never see this person again.
Yeah.
And I think it's not a coincidence that so many of my favorite artists, or the people that I've enjoyed collaborating with the most, are are good people.
Good people.
And Quinta is the best, man.
You speak with so much affection for the people that you work with. How did you find yourself in Quinta's sphere? Like when did that connection get made?
It's a pretty kind of boring trajectory. I was shooting something in Atlanta, and I remember being sent her pilot, and I was sitting on a park bench in a park reading it, and I laughed out loud. And I was like, I've never done that before.
So this just came from your agent?
Yeah.
They said, I've got a pilot that's shooting.
Yeah.
What do you think? Have a read.
And this was probably like my I don't want to age myself, but it was not my first pilot season. And so I was like, I had read a bunch of pilots in my days, and I was like, if anybody has the balls to actually make this show, it could be so cool. I really felt like she was writing for herself. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a quality in writers where it feels like, if you don't get this joke, it's okay. You'll get the next one. I really thought she was coming from that place. I thought she was talking about a location and a group of people that never really got the spotlight shined on them. And I just thought she was so twisted and goofy.
Yeah,
it was really funny to me. So yeah, I auditioned for her show, and I met her shortly after at a test. This was like peak COVID. So we weren't testing in person. And so the first time I met her was on the phone, and the second time I met her was over Zoom. And then we made the pilot.
Did you get a sense from those Zooms and those phone calls? Did you get a sense like, okay, this is someone I really want to work with? Or
she was, she'll hate to hear me say this, but like she was, and rightly so, like she played her cards very well. You know, she did this thing that all of my favorite directors do, which is they sort of just give you permission to bloom. And she could have, in that moment, said, like, this is who this character is, and I know exactly, how he should say this line. And instead, she just sort of invited me, mostly by just being so kind and praising what I had done up until that point.
Yeah.
She was sort of like, let's create this thing together. And that made me feel very at ease.
Sometimes you meet people and you're just like, oh my God, everything's about to change. This person's incredible.
Yeah. I didn't get that Zoom is so weird. It's like there's so much that happens in a room that is just like
energy
physical.
transfer.
Yeah,
I'm with you, 100%.
Just absolutely dies on Zoom and on the internet. And I was pretty nervous. I was like, I think this could be a great show, and she would be so dumb to cast me, and so I was nervous. But I will say I got that feeling when we were all in the same room the first day that we shot the pilot. It was just an energy thing.
Yeah. Sometimes when it's something like that, I call it like the goosebumps. Like you get the goosebumps. I'm like, oh, something's happening here. This is good.
Yeah.
This is a good thing. This is about to happen, and I'm lucky to be part of it. So,
totally.
Lots been said about your performance. I will say, not to blow smoke, but you do light up the screen.
Thanks, man.
Your performance is I think comedy is really hard. Like it can be really hard, but you have such an ease with which you deliver your lines with this calm, but there's a quirk there. Do you have a lot of experience like doing comedy?
I don't have a lot of experience being calm.
Oh, no, really?
So I love hearing you say that. No, I mean, I think drama school really taught me to, there's so many skills that you can borrow from whatever. I've said before, like I was kind of flabbergasted that Quinta wanted me to do this job. I'm typically cast as neurotic, darker, brooding characters. I've certainly done a lot of
You've done
plays
a few of those?
like that. I've played a lot of, troubled people.
I don't want to say, but I was thinking this as I was kind of watching the show and everything. I thought to myself, man, I feel like you could play. There's a lot of serial killer entertainment out there right now, which I don't know why we're pushing that, but that's okay. There's some good stuff out there. I don't want to say it, but I feel like you could do a good serial killer at some point. Have you played something like that before? Not to say that you look.
That is a supreme
handsome.
compliment.
They're generally very handsome and very intelligent.
Yeah, I became an actor because I want to play everything. So I mean, that sounds. I think obviously actors are attracted to those roles because it feels so different from you. It feels like you're on a one polar end of human psychology and one extreme spectrum. I was pretty confident that like I could be funny, that I could improv with Quinta. I feel all of that felt relatively easy. They say like comedy is drama plus timing or something like that. I learned so much in drama school, just about the rhythm and tone of something, how it wants to exist. And any great comedian will, not to lump myself into that category, but will tell you that like humor is rooted in reality. You lose the trust of your audience when you are trying to get away with something that isn't earned or real. And so that's why I thought Quinta's show was so great, was because, and certainly the mockumentary genre kind of lends itself to just keeping your feet on the ground and making it rooted in something real. And that's what people laugh at. I think we certainly write a lot of jokes, but I think people mostly laugh at things out of recognition, just like weird kind of eccentricities of human behavior that we're like, oh yeah, I do that too, or God, she's weird, or stuff like that.
Are you good at keeping it together? Because that can be so hard when you're on set, is keeping it together when you've got people that are as talented as yourself, telling wacky jokes or putting yourself into crazy situations. Like, do you break the most? Do other people break?
Should I divulge who breaks the most? I'm generally, I do pretty well. I will say I'm proud of myself. I am surrounded by comedic assassins, and they are so great at their job, and so they make it difficult. But I don't break a lot. I will say Quinta probably makes me break the most because, as I said before, she has a sick, twisted concept of comedy.
Yeah.
And honestly, she probably breaks the most. I think because, the sheer nature of her job is she's got a hand in the episode right before the one we're shooting, the episode right afterward, the season as a whole. She's simultaneously sort of editing the show while she's acting in the show. I think she kind of forgets about, as I said, it's like 6 weeks between when we've read it and when we're going to make it. I think she forgets about what's happening, and she was there to write it, obviously, but when we do it and she sees that kind of transmuted through an actor's body and the way they're going to say it and sees it live, I think it makes her giggle, and that's really cute. And I think any good artist would tell you, like, you gotta write what's funny to you, and you have to hope that other people want to pick up what you're putting down. And so I think the show is genuinely funny to her as it is to me, and I think it's nice. I think she enjoys like hearing it manifested in the world. So she's definitely the one that breaks the most. But
the shoot days sound like an awful lot of fun. Just as you mentioned, the mockumentary style gives you some freedom to, I guess, hitting your marks aren't as important when you're just kind of like, you don't have to be as specific with your marks. So there's some freedom there. But you're also working with some of the most adorable children as well. And what's it like working on set with all these kids?
It's so cool, man.
Is that?
I mean, I feel like I'm throwing a lot of showbiz adages out there, but there's one about like, don't work with kids or animals or something like that. We do a lot of both on this show, actually, and I couldn't disagree more. They're so amazing. I remember in the early years, I really was quite nervous on set. I was like, we make the show so fast and furiously. I just wanted, I wanted enough time to make it right, and they are this incredible presence. Their proximity to play and fun and make believe and silliness is obviously so close to them. They still travel through the world with that on their sleeve. And so they're this incredible reminder of what we're all doing there. And for the most part, they're freaking incredible. You know, we've been blessed with so many amazing young actors, so many young folk who really want to become a director someday or be a script supervisor, which is crazy. And a lot who want to be actors, and a lot who are genuinely interested in what we're doing there.
Yeah.
And some who think I am not so much my kids because I teach. Jacob. Yeah. Jacob is in charge of the older kids, but there are kids certainly in Janine and Barbara's classes that think I am a teacher and that they're there to learn something from me. God forbid. So it's awesome, man. They're also kind of like the secret weapon of our show. Totally. I'm thinking of the kid who plays the tiniest kid. Yep. And you can write anything for the tiniest kid, and it's just like it's gold every time. Yeah. So we're very lucky.
Occasionally, does a line get handed off to a kid that maybe wasn't necessarily cast but was there, and we need to get a line out of here? Do you get to occasionally dish out a line to someone?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, that's what's so fun about as I said, we have a good understanding of what's going to happen on the day, but there's so much that's left up to chance. And Randall, in particular, Randall Einhorn, one of our executive producers and the guy who directs probably half of our episodes at this point, at least a third of them, he kind of pioneered this documentary, mockumentary style. He got his start on The Office. He created that, and we're so lucky to have him here. And he, made the show with Quinta. He is so tapped into what any moment needs, especially as it pertains to the kids. They're this incredible juxtaposition for the adults who, in their own right, don't have their shit together. Yeah. And the kids can kind of punctuate that and accentuate that in ways that, I just think are so satisfying. So, yeah, there's a lot of, especially with the kids, there's a lot of moments that were not originally there, but we
get
just
added in. Yeah. I could just imagine it being so exciting for those kids on set. I just think, like, being surrounded by such talent and just part of a massive show, even just to be there would be fantastic. But to get to say a little something here or there would be kind of incredible too. So.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah. When it comes to your life, how have things changed in the last few years for you? Obviously, like getting on a show is one thing, but then when you're on a hit show that so many people really cherish, has it dramatically changed your life? Would you say?
I would say yes. I mean, I against all odds, it has. I still go to the grocery store and pick my own apples, and I still ride the subway. Yep. I flee back to Brooklyn kind of as soon as they call cut, here on the show in LA. So
you say flee back to Brooklyn. So you're splitting your time between the two? Yeah. You have a preference clearly of Brooklyn as home?
I don't know. I've lived in Brooklyn longer, and so it just wins, I guess, by sheer days. But they both really complement each other. I when I'm in Brooklyn, I miss it here, and when I'm here, I miss it there. They're two of the greatest cities in the world, and so awesome, there's so much to love, and they really kind of keep each other in check. Mm-hmm. But Brooklyn still kind of feels like home a bit. I will say LA feels more like home every year. Wow. Okay. Which I love. Yeah, I didn't mean to say that like I. Oh no, I was just curious. No.
I always just get curious. I always like to ask people where they prefer certain things. People have strong feelings.
I have to be here for work. You know, I haven't convinced them all to come shoot the show in Philly or in Brooklyn yet. Yeah. So I think just because I get to be here for work, I try to go there when I don't have to be here. Yeah, it's still, I'm still sort of like coming to terms with it. I can't believe that when I ride the subway with a hat and glasses sometimes and a mask, people still come up to me and are like, I'm sorry to do this, but are you? And that's taken some getting used to.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, people are just so incredible. And
what about when you drop into Philly?
Oh man, we cannot be outside in Philly.
Is that right?
We can. I don't care, but it's amazing. It's like going to a place where you have millions of family members that you didn't know about. Last time we were in Philly shooting, I was walking across the street to this museum, and a woman was simultaneously walking her dog, eating something in one hand, and on the phone, and she stopped all of those things. I think even hung up the phone to say hello. Being in Philly is amazing. The beautiful country of Philadelphia, as we call it. I love Philly so much. It's amazing to be there. We're out here thinking about, dreaming about, sending love to that city, on set every day. And so when we get to actually go there and film, it's awesome. But yeah, everybody there watches the show. And
I can imagine. You're putting them, not to say you're putting them on the map, they're firmly on the map, but it's nice to have some representation, particularly when it's a show that's as big as this and as universally loved as Abbott Elementary.
And I think it's honestly because it's about Philly. I think any great writer will tell you that the more specific you can get about your story, the more universal it becomes. Mm-hmm. And Quinta made this school as quintessentially Philly and as it could be. And, we talk a lot about obviously the struggles that they're weathering in daily life in the school. And it was very important to make the paint chipping in a very specific way in that building and to make them dress a very specific way. And I think when you do that, you just draw people in. And I wonder if the show had been about a different place that Quinta, couldn't write from in this way, if it would have the same effect. I mean, I think she's brilliant, and so I think whatever she does,
probably figure it out, but
work,
she's got an intimate...
It helps, I think, when you stop trying to think about your audience and you stop trying to write for other people and you just write what you know, obviously, and sort of zoom in on that. I think people want to go with you there. And it ends up feeling honest as opposed to kind of general.
We're halfway through season 5 now. Halloween episode was fantastic.
Thanks, man.
Costumes were great.
I'm so glad that we've continued to do that every year.
These are fun, like to have little milestones that people can look forward to. I think it's really cool. I think it's a really cool addition. Are we going to see a Christmas special at any point?
We are.
Well, okay.
We are.
Yep.
Yeah, Ava Fest has also become this kind of like recurring, this touchstone in the Abbott verse. So I'm so excited about that. Yeah. I mean, the whole show is essentially just like taking a joke and trying to riff on something. And so having different versions of Halloween and taking everything that happened in those episodes before and getting to show a new take on it is a blast.
Is this your focus moving forward? Are you just all in Abbott Elementary, or are you starting to? As I know you've done some films recently, Twinless.
I've never been able to plan my life, see the end of the year. I've never known that I would have a job waiting for me, and when you get that, it does kind of like open other doors in your mind that you've kept closed. The other beautiful thing about our show is, we work so fast and furiously, as I said, and so we get a season of Abbott done in half the year, and so that leaves the other half of the year to
have some time.
Work on other stuff, to prepare for the next season. I stay pretty in my lane when we're shooting this. I'm certainly kind of like keeping one eye open for whatever it might be during the hiatus. I've started to really kind of tap the font of the brilliant playwrights in New York that I've worked with and start to develop stuff that I want to see in the world with them that I hope I get to do when we're not shooting Abbott. I think because I truly have a new story every week, I try to just hibernate and again, I feel way more comfortable on set than I did when we first started, but I would be lying if I said I'm not still sort of plagued by the permanence of it all, that we have 1 week to get this story right. And so I give it as much as I can for that 1 week, and I take a couple days to kind of do a 180 and shift toward the next story. So all of that is to say, I get pretty like myopic about Abbott while we're doing it.
While you're doing it, yeah.
Having regular employment, being able to pay my bills, and it has made me feel free enough to start thinking about what could be after Abbott. But this is the job that just keeps on giving, and I think Quinta is so committed to making not just 22 episodes of television and getting through it, but 22 good episodes. And I've really seen how difficult that is. I think the show is still not only still working, but really improving upon itself year after year. And so as long as she wants to make this show, I want to be right there with her. So I hope
I think you
we
can
get to
see
do
that
some
too
more.
when you watch it too. I was looking back at some earlier episodes and the stuff that you've got today, and the way that it's there's so much going on now. It's so quick, it's so fast moving, and it's so playful, and like you said, you've slipped into your characters. Is it a well-oiled machine at this point? Would you call it a well-oiled machine?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she's doing a great job of our producers and writers as well as trying to, subvert people's expectations.
Yeah.
I think we're trying to make it continually challenging for us.
Yep.
I think only a well-oiled machine could go shoot at a live baseball game.
That's
There's
remarkable,
a reason,
by the way. I don't know
think
how you
people
guys
don't
do
do that. It's there's such a symbiosis between our camera operators know what I'm going to do before I know what I'm going to do. And so it is working. It's working so well, and I hope it will continue to work better and better.
The camera operators as well, just to touch on that.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're shooting mockumentary style, we're allowed to sort of break that fourth wall and look down the barrel of the camera. It's a very useful tool in comedy. So the camera operators are almost, they've kind of playing a part.
They're characters in the show.
In the show as well, right?
I refer to them in my mind as who they actually are, Jeremiah and Brenda and Tom and Drew. But Jacob thinks of them. Jacob knows who he has, which operators he has sort of an alliance with. And he knows, he knows, I think Jacob thinks that, the film will eventually be cut to make him the star,
Is that right?
And just as, a person who wants to make films someday, like learning about, obviously mockumentary is mockumentary, but there's so much storytelling that goes into the way the camera moves that feels very much like I'm going to film grad school, watching the decisions that they're making and how shooting the scene through the blinds as opposed to shooting the scene from the back of the room versus at the table with us, affects how we play it as actors, but it also just does something to the audience that I find so satisfying. I love when we get to watch the show from, through the bushes or like a fly on the wall. It adds to the whole experience.
It draws you in. Makes you feel like you've got a little relationship with the characters in the show as well. Outside of Abbott Elementary, I feel like you've really sort of come to the fore a little bit. You're getting a lot of attention online, and you're getting a lot of attention from TV series, from interviewers, etc. I'm talking about Jennifer Hudson right now. There was a big moment where you did the big walk. What was that like? Was that a surprise to you?
Yes, I woke up to a text from Quinta and Janelle the day that the Spirit Tunnel dropped. The day of the big drop.
Yeah. Did you know what you had to do going down the tunnel?
No, I didn't. I've said it before. I would pay money to go back in time and know that the Spirit Tunnel was a thing. It's so lovely there. She surrounds herself with the greatest people.
Warm people.
She's been so generous, kind to our show. Jennifer Hudson, I'm talking about. I was so grateful that she had me on the show to hang. But yeah, when I woke up to the text from, and we get up at 4 or 5 in the morning to start working on the show, and so to wake up from a text from them when I know I'm going to see them in roughly an hour was terrifying.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? How many likes did that get? 1.5 million likes?
1.5 likes.
I thought it was adorable.
Thanks, man.
On top of that, I know envy is a sin, but I can't help but envy your fashion sense. It's really, is this something that you've always been interested in, just as naturally interested in style and fashion? Because you're becoming a bit of an icon.
Wow.
I would say at this point.
Wow.
Is that fair?
You are sinning, and it feels so good. Why does it feel so good? Thanks, man. Thanks for saying that.
No, it's really something. It's not easy to dress. Look, as a guy, I struggle. I would love some tips.
Easy.
It's not easy, but you
sucks.
seem to make it look easy. And,
Thanks, man.
And you're very creative with it. Your style is very cool, and it's very interesting. Was that something that you'd always had an interest in?
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody that I went to middle school with would tell you that it was quite chaotic for a number of years.
We
but
all have those times. Yeah, exactly.
I was having fun, and even when I couldn't really afford to buy new clothes, I was having fun. Yeah, I think it's always been a mode of self-expression.
Yeah.
And working on this show has introduced me to some pretty incredible artists in their own right. And I think when you meet somebody who wants to tell a story in that way, or is a genius at that, I'm just so in awe of that and impressed by that I want to go where they want to go. And so
do you find yourself not working with people, but sort of teaming up with people that have got
I'm working with an amazing stylist right now called Kat Cook. And I'm just endlessly impressed by the way she sees the world and the way she sees me and the way she challenges me to kind of see myself. And, fashion is art. I love expressing myself in that way. And not for nothing, but, when we're filming the show, we're kind of I wouldn't call Jacob an untrendy person, but we're in our teacher garb. We're we're
not super flamboyant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when we get these moments to, go to an award show or go to an event, it really feels like a celebration.
Yeah.
And
a chance to express yourself and bring back those useful days of really dressing up.
Yeah.
Have you ever walked a catwalk?
I did. Yeah, I did. And I would love to again. It was a long time ago, so it's time to close the gap.
I think so. I'd like to see you up there.
Thanks, man.
You've been very generous with your time this morning. I know that you've got a lot going on. I have a few quick questions. We're just going to smash them out. Answer them if you like.
Great.
Tell me to piss off if you want me to. Okay, I think we might have touched on this before, but I don't know if we got we got an answer. Most likely a cast member to break during a scene, and you
Quinta
said
Brunson.
Yep.
She's the one who thought of it all. She just can't keep it together.
If you weren't acting, what would you be doing?
Maybe cooking.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You're a whiz in the kitchen.
I'm not, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah. Most Jacob Hill thing you've done in real life?
I'm serially untapped in, and so the line where Chris and Jacob meet now, as it pertains to the internet or what's cool or what's going on in the world, is almost indistinguishable. So I do it on a daily basis. I say the wrong slang, or I think somebody is who they're not.
Yep. One actor you'd love to guest star on Abbott?
The last few years we've been doing this kind of award circuit, and we keep running into Henry Winkler.
Oh, wow.
He's so incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, he's such an icon, and he's been so nice to us. And I just think he's the best, and I think he should be on our show.
He would be
it
a fantastic. I think that'd be such a great addition to the. I think. Oh God, I'm just thinking about his performances from Barry now, and I just think like he would
he
just
can
be,
do anything, and so I think that would be so rad.
Great answer. This one might be helpful for me. Hot fashion tip for 2025.
Less is more.
Less is more. So to do less.
I think so.
Okay, that's fair. What is Jacob's mission?
I think it is no less than save the world. I think Jacob, one of the beautiful things about playing this character is he's missing that part of his brain that tells him that it can't be done or that it's overly eager or ambitious. And so I really think he will chip away at it until it chips away at him. So there's one person can change the world, I think is what he would say. And he's right.
Speaking of that leads me to the next question. Did you ever have a teacher in your life that changed your life?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they all changed my life in the sense that they didn't kick me out of their class or tell my parents how disruptive I was. But I vividly remember being handed my first play and just sort of the generosity that it takes to be like, I'm not gonna just kind of let you sink to the bottom of my class, but I'm gonna find the thing that is your life preserver. Like I had an English teacher who was like, you should maybe audition for the school play.
Is that something that you'd thought of before, or that was the first sort of introduction to that?
Not really. I mean, I kind of fell into it by way of music. I thought that, that was really cool. And then, as I said, I was always sort of obsessed with, in some way, kind of being the center of attention. And I knew that making people laugh was, unlike anything else in this life.
Yeah.
But being an actor, it took several years in my younger days to kind of fall into it for the right reasons.
Do you remember that teacher's name?
Yeah. That was Joanne Ham, Miss Ham. And I was in several of her classes, and she saw it before I did.
I love that. I love those
it's pretty
stories.
Cool.
Yeah, really cool. Chris, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jonathon.
Been lovely learning about your life, and I can't wait to see your story unfold. Looking forward to watching you on television for many, many, many more years to come.
That's amazing. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Chris. Cheers.